Hi, I'm Brian Kemble, the curator at the Ruth Bancroft Garden, and we're here to look at the What's in Bloom list for September. So each month we prepare a sheet highlighting some of the plants that are in flower in that month, and we give this to our garden visitors so they can walk around and check out some of those plants as they go around the garden. But some of you are farther afield and not able to come visit the garden for yourself, so we make this video which shows some of those plants so you can watch it in the comfort of your own home. So we're starting out this month with a callistemon. So callistemons are oftentimes called bottle brushes, and they come from Australia, and they're in the myrtle family, Myrtaceae. And the usual one that you see has bright red flowers, but this is a special cultivar called Cain's hybrid with pink flowers. And you can see it's very attractive to bees. They're visiting it constantly, and many flower clusters along the tips of the branches. Callistemon Cain's hybrid, an Australian plant that does very well for us in California gardens. There are lots of different strategies that plants have evolved to cope with a dry environment or a long dry season when no rain falls. And obviously having succulent leaves is one. So you can store water in your leaves, or if you're a stem succulent, in your stem, and that way get yourself through the dry season. But another way is to be winter or let's say dormant season deciduous. And that is what a lot of bulbs do. So the bulb grows when there's rainfall and then goes dormant when it's dry and just sits there with no leaves at all through the dry season, and then comes back again when the rain comes back. And this is Brunsvigia josephinae and the Amaryllis family from South Africa. South Africa has the most bulbs of any country in the world. And this is a great example. It is from the winter rainfall part of South Africa, so it does very well in our climate where we too have winter rainfall and summer dry. And so it loses its leaves all summer long, and there's just the neck of the bulb sticking up, but no leaves at all during the summertime. At the end of the summer, boom, up comes this large inflorescence, comes into bloom, and then after that finishes, then the leaves come in time for the fall rains and grows through the winter. So we can see these are a little bit different stages. So this one here is just beginning, lots of buds and only a few open flowers. And over here, a little farther along, already we see seed pods developing and its last flowers. So some come out a little bit earlier and some a little bit later, but always the end of the summer is the time of the year when these bloom. Brunsvigia josephinae. We have lots of aloes here at the Ruth Bancroft Garden, and a lot of them are tough enough they can grow out in the open beds without any protection in the winter, but some of them not so much. This one here is Aloe scobinifolia from Somalia, and because it never gets very cold where it grows, we have it here in this bed. So there's a superstructure here, and in the wintertime, we put plastic over it and plastic sides down, and this becomes sort of like a walk-in greenhouse, a refuge for plants that don't have so much cold tolerance. So this aloe is here for that reason. So Aloe scobinifolia can have, like this one, yellow flowers, or it can have more coral red flowers. And so our other ones in the greenhouse have the coral red flowers, but this one came out with the yellow. It's a bit of a green tip at the end, but quite yellow. It's a small aloe, and an aloe that does not have teeth along the edge like most aloes do, and not commonly seen in gardens. And there is a little bonus plant down here. This is Huernia threadii with its pale yellow flowers in bloom right at the base of our aloe, Aloe scobinifolia. This plant here is an Australian species called Xanthorrhoea quadrangulata. It's a rather ridiculous spelling on there, but that's what they named it. And the common name for this is Australian grass tree. All Xanthorrhoeas are called Australian grass tree. Now you might think, what's a tree about that? Well, come back in 100 years and it will have a trunk. The trunk just develops very slowly. Oftentimes in Australia, they occur in areas that get fires that come through. And so the trunk will be all blackened from having gone through fires with this burst of blue-green leaves coming up out of the top of the blackened trunk. A very dramatic effect, but one we're never going to get here because we're not going to let it catch on fire. Anyway, you can see here different inflorescences from different stages. So this is last year's. It's already turned brown. And the little beaks pointing out are the seed pods. And then here we can see the first one that came out this year that's just finishing, only a few flowers left on it. And then the third one that's in full bloom right now is this one over here. So when the flower stalk first comes out, it looks like a cylinder of sparkling green astroturf, and then little white stars of flowers come out in that. Very green in the beginning, then it browns as it ages. So the flowers are quite tiny, but very attractive to bees, and there are bees visiting it right now. So the development of the trunk on these is really, really slow. So it takes a long time. This one's maybe only about 20 years old and hasn't started to get a trunk yet, but eventually it will. Xanthorrhoea quadrangulata. That brings us to the close of our September edition of What's in Bloom at the Ruth Bancroft Garden. But I want to point out a plant that's not on What's in Bloom and never gets to be on, and that's this cactus. This is Neobuxbaumia polylopha, a columnar cactus from Mexico. So because it has a burst of flowers and then a long period with no flowers and then another burst of flowers, it's not in bloom continuously for enough time to ever be on What's in Bloom, but it's still quite wonderful. So I thought it'd be worth a look. And if we look up here at the top, we can see there are the dark red buds of flowers that have not opened yet, but also a flower that's already finished, turned into a fruit, and then that fruit has split open and opened widely and is exposing all its glistening black seeds and are ready for seed dispersal. So this is the first time our Neobuxbaumia has done this. So it flowers, but it usually doesn't make any seed pods, and this year it did. So we're very excited to see that, because the way that the seed pod opens up and then exposes all those seeds for the birds and whatever to come and take them away is really quite wonderful. Neobuxbaumia polylopha. Thank you for watching our What's in Bloom, and if you are near enough to visit the garden, come and see all these plants for yourself. If not, then this video will have to be your ticket to seeing us from far away. The Ruth Bancroft Garden.